with the margin, the 26% margin that you've clocked in this quarter in the highest ever, do you believe this is sustainable, or what led to this surge in margins for the quarter?
Yeah, so there are a couple of factors. I think in the US, there were a couple of product families that that had higher margins where sales were higher. In India, the margins, we didn't have so much of an anti-infective season. And so when we don't have an anti-infective season, what happens is that the relative mix in the margin, it creates a mix impact and the margin goes up. And the third aspect that I could add is that the pricing corrections that are allowed for the business begin to probably normalize around Q2 of this year, right? Depending on when the pricing, when you're allowed to take pricing increases in India. Those are perhaps the two biggest reasons. We've seen expansion more on our gross margin as against expansion on due to any of the cost decreases in our cost line items.
So if I could ask you to elaborate on the US products that led to the margin surge, did it have to do a lot with Revlimid, or did we have other products coming in?
So Revlimid incrementally between the 2 quarters is actually insignificant. So I think we've seen more expansion out of other product families, out of expanding share of lanreotide, out of expanding share back on albuterol, where we've seen almost 100 bips improvement in share. So it's coming out of couple of those product families that we have.
Okay, and so is this sustainable, because albuterol reached a peak and then it fell and then it was quite stable, and now that you've seen...
Yeah, we're seeing a slight increase in albuterol, but I guided that on an overall company level, we're looking at a margin profile of, for this quarter, a base margin profile between 24 to 25%. And we have reported slightly higher than that in the last quarter.
Yeah.
So I mean last quarter, not the quarter going forward.
And so on an overall basis, how would you look at ending the year? Would it be on a 26% margin? Because I believe the Indian price hike effect would be for all the following quarters. So do you believe it's possible?
No, I think we'd guided that we're still guiding to the 23 to 24% range with the bias perhaps towards the upper end of the range for the year.
Okay. So also on the product pipeline, do we have any launch dates for products? And just a question on the Pithampur facility, which had received an OAI in August. Does that change things for any product? And how would it change the overall launch pipeline?
So obviously, if the Indore facility does not clear, it delays the launch pipeline. But I think we've been working on the remediation since the audit, and also trying to move the assets and de-risk the assets to other facilities, which a program now has been going on for the past 4 months or 5 months. So I think most of the assets that could have been launched from Indore for the next 1 or 2 years will reach a point where they will start getting launched by the H2 of next year. And the Goa assets will probably reach a point where in the H1 towards the middle, we'll start seeing hopefully some launches from those assets going forward. So that's already work in progress. Obviously, they're delayed by about 6 months from the time we could launch to the time we will. But the company and all of us have put significant effort to begin to unlock this.
So what are the products that we have in the pipeline from Pithampur which could get delayed to H2?
Advair is the largest, and that we are already in process of shifting to our facilities at Hopage at Long Island. Then we have a couple of other inhaler products from Goa which are going to our facility in Boston, which is at Fall River. That way the product will be filed both from Indore and from the facility there. And then we've got Abraxane, which is being done at a partner facility. There are quite significant number of products over and above that, a couple of peptide injectables, which hopefully should also start launching by the mid of next year. So that's the way we're looking at our business going forward.
Okay, so and so my last question would be on Actor Pharma. So you made the acquisition recently. So what are your plans with scaling up the South Africa business? Because this quarter, I believe, there's after a couple of muted quarters, we finally seen comeback. I mean, last quarter and this quarter.
Yes, I think we had an issue for about 3 quarters, and now I think the quarter data seems to be showing robustness in the business again. Actor is part of our plan because we are number 2 in the branded prescription business in South Africa already. And if you have to climb ranks, then we cannot be number 3 in the consumer business. So these are part of a strategy to start moving the needle of the consumer business significantly higher. We hope Actor with its, there are lots of things we like in that business. I think they've got some very solid franchises, but the one we're equally excited about, though it's nascent, is just the women and childcare range of the businesses that we've acquired in South Africa.